Welcome to the second episode of the Dark Joseph Ravine Show. As some of you may not know, I am personally from Thornhill, and there's so much going on in Thornhill right now. That all brings me to the reason why I have a very special guest here who is not only a superheroine in my opinion, but a very big helper of the Thornhill community. Please give a special welcome to Laura Smith.
Thank you so much, Joseph.
Thank you. My pleasure.
That was such a kind introduction, and I want to thank you for bringing me here today.
Oh, of course. Welcome to the show.
No, it's my absolute pleasure to be here. So
yes, great.
Yes, absolutely.
So,
anything for a Thornhillier.
Yeah, absolutely.
For another Thornhillier, absolutely.
So my first question is, what got you started with being a helper in the Thornhill community?
That is a massive question, and I think, like a lot of people in Thornhill, we're very involved in everything. I've always talked about Thornhill as a community that makes something from nothing. We see an opportunity, we see an experience that should happen, we see a place where we can help, and we literally create something from nothing. And there's so many organizations like that, and you probably know so many of them as well. We have incredible not-for-profits that do literally God's work, like Rena and Danny and Kayla's. These places do incredible work, and people see a place to do something, and they try and make things better. And so how I got involved in politics was just trying to do a little bit of that. I walked into my daughter's school as what I thought was going to be a parent, and I walked out as a vice president of a nursery school. So that was kind of my beginning of politics. And you begin to become involved in the day-to-day. And I really have to say, my children gave me my kickstart unknowingly into politics.
That is so amazing. And to me, you're such a superheroine for what you do for the community. Usually politics is very harsh in some ways, but you make it seem so positive and so like people can respect it. And that's so amazing because, I always say whatever you do, it has to be something you're really, really passionate about. And I know you have a lot of passion for what you do.
I do. I have a lot of passion for what I do. And I have, actually, if I can tell you a story, I have a friend. His name is Sam, and he's 96 years old. 96 years old.
That's amazing.
And I'm actually working on a private member's bill on dementia. And I'm constantly asking Sam, what do you do? How are you so vital? Like literally, he's so smart, he's so articulate, and he's got everything going for him. And he's given me some advice. And I'll give you some. Do you want to hear my advice?
Absolutely,
okay.
I do.
So Sam's advice has always been, be authentic, be yourself. People will like you when you're authentic. People realize when you're false, and they get that.
100%.
Yeah, absolutely. And he actually told me that, you should appreciate what you have. Not what you want, but what you have.
100%. I do that every day.
Yeah, every day. Want what you've got. And, you have a true value to life when you do that. And he always says to me, when you see an opportunity to do some good, and you can, try and do it. So
Absolutely.
That's kind of where that's kind of where I started, and I hope I will end, because I always want people. It's a calling, and they say that men run into politics, women get asked, and they get asked, and they get asked again.
Yeah.
And and so that was my condition, and so I'm just trying to extend. My son always says, you're just trying to spin your volunteer work into a full-time position, and I guess I've effectively done that.
Yeah, and that's actually amazing as well. I also know that you also are very passionate about helping the youth and helping our future generation become better as well. As you probably aren't aware, I don't know if I ever told you, I was actually bullied as a child, and I suffered a lot of, mistreatment from students, from teachers, and, they didn't really understand me very well in the things that I was going through in my life at the time. And I always like to believe that a little understanding and understanding a background story and where people come from and why people are behaving the way they are due to a background story, something that happened in their life that triggered that, can come a very long way. So do you believe that the school system should get people to understand background stories, to find out ways how they can possibly help children become happier and to realize how to take their life to the next level in a way that all the negativity can go from their life and become happier and things like that?
It's actually really interesting that you bring that subject up, because right now there's something called Bill 98 where it makes the school boards a little more accountable. It also provides for another thing that's been brought in recently is care for children. Children have access, when they're in schools, they have access to certain assistance, and they're extending that, even mental health assistance throughout the year, which is so important, because I think, getting back to my original story, which was literally walking into a nursery school with my daughter, I became involved because I wanted to give her the best opportunity. And I felt, as a parent, nobody knows your child better than a parent.
100%.
I have a PhD in both of my children, and
Great.
so when you can advocate for your child, I do. When you have the ability to really see what your child needs and advocate for them, you're stronger because of it. You're a stronger family, and you're hopefully creating a stronger future community member, which I hope I've done with my own children. I'm hoping. I'm not done yet, but we'll get there.
I can definitely say I believe that you have done it because of how kind you are and how open you are to thinking about people. And, sometimes people hold the stereotype that people that are famous are full of themselves and egotistical. But, my publicist that you met earlier, she actually told me many celebrities are the nicest people in the world. And they have to be, because anything wrong or bad they do could be held against them. And it's unfortunate people hold this stereotype that people that are successful are full of themselves. It's not necessarily true. It may be true to some extent, a couple people, but most of them have to be nice because the behavior belongs to the public eye, not to them. So I believe that many celebrities and many people in the public eye are one of the nicest people.
You know what? Getting back to my friend Sam, he talked about being authentic, and you are 100% correct, because when you're authentic, people see that, they identify that. I think people are smarter, and actually I specifically think that the youth are very smart. It's really interesting because they're very honest, and my daughter has a very strong point of view when it comes to very young children. They always tell the truth. So I respect that, and I always give the youth, specifically the very young children, the opportunity to say their piece, because they speak the truth.
Absolutely, and that's exactly why I've always been so passionate about helping them as well, because I tell people I had a very bad past growing up, and I wouldn't want anybody to go through the things that I've been through, specifically the youth, because the reality is that one traumatic event can ruin someone for a lifetime. And so I always say, please be careful and be cautious, and try to think about even educators, a message to all the educators too. Please be careful how you treat them, respect them, make them happy, try to be understanding. Don't demand respect from someone just because they're younger than you. Understand everything takes time, everything's a development, everything's a build. Nothing's an overnight process. And also, most importantly, if you're going into education or teaching or administration, make sure it's your passion and it's something you really, really love. The sad reality is many people in the Thornhill community get jobs out of pity or get jobs they're not competent doing. And it's a sad reality because, I always say, whatever profession you go into, you got to do it with all your heart, with all your soul, like if you weren't even being paid. Celebrities actually say, love something so much, like if you weren't being paid for it.
That is, and you truly have to love what you're doing. But you know what? Getting back to your point about people in Thornhill, I disagree. I think we are so hardworking in Thornhill. I tour businesses and restaurants and all kinds of startup companies on a regular basis. And they all work so hard. And they not only work so hard for today, but they're working hard for the next community of people that are coming. And they're constantly asking me what they can do so that they can expand. So, you know what? We have nothing but a booming group of industries in Thornhill, biotechnical. We all know that Thornhill is the food capital of Canada, in my opinion.
That's wonderful.
Would you agree with that?
Yeah, for sure. And you know what? You just filled me with the ray of hope that there is people who really are into positive changes and people that, who are into this, maybe because I've grown up with so much negativity all my life. That's why I thought that people aren't receiving jobs for the right reasons. But now I see how much you really fill people with this ray of hope. There is good people. Don't think the worst. Believe me, there's good people. And that's what I love about what you do. And I'm
You're
so
very
thankful
kind.
for
You're
coming
so
here.
kind. You know, and you know what? Just to reiterate for anyone watching, I'm a director with a sports club, and it's always been our motto: when you see something, say something.
Yes.
Because you know what? That is so important. So many kids don't. We talked about the truth of children, and I think that it's important that they always have a voice.
Exactly, because that's the whole point about helping the youth. Everybody wants to be understood. I always say, if you agree with this, a little understanding can come such a long way and make a huge difference.
Well, speaking of youth, I think our entire office, and I'm looking at my chief right now in the audience, we're all, other than myself, we are all under 28. Yes? Yeah. So the youth keeps us ticking. They also have the stamina to keep moving, which is really important for a person. My ankle just cracked.
It's
so
okay, don't worry.
no, but I'm talking about my age. So you know what? You need young people to keep you young. So
100%.
I appreciate the youth injection that happens in our office, because it's very important, because I need that energy to come back at me so I can continue to move forward in a fast way, because otherwise I'm just going to slow down. And that's, speaking to my dementia bill, you always want to keep moving. You always want to keep your mind moving.
100%. And that's also what I'm all about. I don't like to harp on the past. I always want to keep moving forward, because you never know what new adventures lie ahead. And so that's what I always encourage everybody to do.
We're on a new adventure right now.
Yeah, forget the past, move on with the future, because you never know what amazing things you can come by.
I think that's a very positive thing. But, and my friend Sam would also agree with you. You're in the present, always live for the present.
Yes.
But my father always said, be mindful of what happened before you, because that's a learning experience.
Absolutely.
Everything you acquire, even the mistakes, are always going to benefit you and help you with the next move you make, because making mistakes are actually a good thing. They teach you for the future, and they teach you to move forward in a positive way.
Well, what can I say, Laura? You are amazing. I'm so thankful for you to be on my show, and I hope that only the future lies good things for you. Folks, thank you so much for joining us. We hope to see you on the next episode of the Dark Joseph Ravine Show. Until then, stay tuned. Bye for now.